Okay. Hey, the preseason's about to be done. I'm as sad as you are. Uh so Vikings Broncos tonight. Out in Denver. It's the last game until they matter, until Green Bay comes in here. Uh I don't know how you preview this one cuz I think it's going to be similar to the other to the other preseason games. They're clearly not prioritizing putting starters in at all. God, they said what was it 27 some guys last time, or maybe that was game one. But they sat a lot of guys. They said more guys in game two. I don't know who's going to play game three. Basically, this is probably just going to be a game where we see the bubble guys. I don't. I would be pretty shocked if after not playing in the first two games that they put in Kirk or any of the other starters. Um, so it's probably going to be bubble guys. I don't even think I would even be a little surprised if they put Nick Mullins in. And if I'll say this, if Nick Mullins doesn't get in, that's the sign right there that he is officially the backup, and I think he will be anyway. But um, and honestly, I would just give this entire game maybe. I would maybe even just give every snap, all four quarters to Kellen Mond. Like this is it, buddy. Um, show us, show us something. Um, and certainly he'll play. I wouldn't even bother with Mannion because if you're gonna have Kirk, you're gonna have Mullins. You're not gonna keep Mond and Mannion. You're much more likely to keep Mond even if he looks worse than Mannion at this point because you can maybe stash him on the practice squad. And I was hearing some stuff this week that maybe you wouldn't be able to get him through waivers because someone would pick him up just because he's an athlete, and maybe you stick him at a different position. But I don't know if that would happen because he hasn't played and he hasn't played as like a receiver or anything. Like is some other team gonna pick this guy up and stick him on a 53-man roster spot with a position he hasn't played before? I kind of doubt that. So I think the odds are pretty good that they could sneak him onto the practice squad. It wouldn't even be much of a sneak. Beyond quarterback, I mean, well, some of the news of the week. I didn't bother to make a video, but the punting job has apparently been decided. They cut Jordan Berry, um, and they're going presumably with this guy Ryan Wright, who was like an undrafted guy from somewhere. He's a big dude, um, and there was lots of consternation amongst Vikings fans. Like, oh my God, how can we get rid of Jordan Berry? He's so good. Like, all of a sudden now you're attached to Jordan Berry. I mean, whatever. He wasn't that good. He was pretty average, and this other guy, had a couple of punts in preseason so far where it's like, oh, he's got a hell of a leg, and maybe you save a little money, and I would certainly expect they're gonna be scanning the waiver wire here. I think next Tuesday is the cut down day league wide for a couple of different positions. Tight end, I think, is definitely a position they're going to be looking for. Um, possibly cornerback. I mean, it's kind of I think they actually have some pretty promising depth because it looks like this draft class has looked pretty damn good in preseason. So it looks like we've got some real winners. Um, Maybe we'll get to see T.Y. McGill again. Go for some more sacks. Um, but yeah, it's just going to be the bubble guys really. So it's hard to really preview what's going to happen. Like wins and losses don't matter. It'd be nice to win. I mean, I suppose it would be nice to win. We haven't won a preseason game since at least 2020. I don't know, because I know we were winless in the preseason last year. We haven't won one this year. Doesn't matter, but it's still nice to win. Baltimore's won like 20 in a row or something like that. But yeah, as far as that goes, we've got our punter. The other big news that came out this week that sort of involved the Vikings was the obsession of many fans throughout much of the offseason. J.C. Tretter, the center, he decided to retire, and then there was some stuff that got out, you know, kind of from his side that like he had contacted the Vikings, but they didn't answer back or something like that. And some people are like, "Oh, how could you not? How could you not bring this guy in?" Like the whole thing with this guy is his knees or whatever are shot. Like no team wanted him. Like if this guy had anything left, or if teams thought that he had anything left, he'd be on a roster right now because anyone would take, you know, a veteran center if they're good to be either a starter or a backup. And obviously the Vikings are in need of a center as of now. It's still Bradbury. They haven't, there's a possibility that he might not be the guy, or maybe he'll start the season as the guy with a real short leash. But if and I was hearing constantly about this guy Tretter. Like if they wanted him, they would have got him. And I was, like, oh, how you don't even bring him in, you don't even check him out. Well, no one else did either. Like there's obviously the word is out that this guy just doesn't have it physically anymore. I mean, you could bring him in, but if you're bringing him in to be your starting center and then it proves that his knees are shot, like he's got nothing left, which is probably the case, and then he blows out his knee or whatever completely and he can't play anymore, then you're back to square one anyway. So, not saying the center position is great. I don't personally have a lot of hope that Garrett Bradbury is going to find new life with a new system. I don't know that the guys, the other couple guys who are contenders to maybe the veterans they brought in to um, to maybe take over for him. I don't know that they're good, but if this guy Tretter was any good, he'd be on a roster right now. And if he could still play, he'd be on a roster right now because someone would have taken him, unless he wanted a big contract or something. I didn't hear anything about him wanting like big time money. At some point you can't you can't make those demands if it's August and you're unsigned. But like he officially retired. Like he's not even like waiting for wait and see what happens with the Vikings. If Bradbury stinks or the veterans they got in here, they're not good. Well, maybe Vikings will still come calling. Well, they're not even waiting for that. He's gone. He's retired. So that's not going to happen anymore. We'll still have to hear about it probably anytime. Anytime whoever we have behind center this year makes any sort of mistake, we're going to hear, well, we could have signed J.C. Tretter. Well, yeah, you could have, but he can't play. And it's pretty much him admitting that he can't play by retiring, in August. So anyway, I don't know who's going to play at center for tonight. I don't know if they're going to stick Bradbury out there, but this is final auditions for everybody. Hope the big thing is at this point just don't get any more injuries. Guess we dodged a bullet with Booth last week. He's going to be okay. He'll probably be ready for the start of the season. Irv Smith got back with the team this week for practicing, so hopefully he's ready. If nothing else, if you can come out of the preseason, pretty healthy, which to this point they are. I think that matters a lot more than getting, 20 plays in games in preseason. Like they had the scrimmages with the 49ers. Those were probably more meaningful than these games. So I think they're in a pretty good spot. We'll see if the guy can coach. We don't know yet. I'm very optimistic. I have a lot of faith in the guy. I think he gets it. I think we're going to see. It's tough. It's tough that we got to start out with the Packers because we know what that's going to be. It's like if we don't win that game, it's going to instantly become sky is falling, terrible coach hire, terrible GM hire. Obviously, Kirk will get blamed. Like it'll the difference of what the reaction is going to be versus a win versus a loss from that game is massive. And of course, it's a big, very big game. I think they're going to come out and play very good in that game and probably win. But that's a preview video for a couple weeks from now. But yeah, so got one more preseason game here. We'll see what happens. Hopefully no injuries, and then next week will probably be pretty interesting with the cut down day and all the guys who are going to be out there. Um, we've had a couple of surprise cuts already. Like I don't think people thought they were going to cut the punter already. They cut Harrison Hand the other day. He got picked up by the Giants. Like I thought he was decent, but he was an early cut. So when you're an early cut, you know you're really not going to make the team because they'll still have close to 30 guys to cut here in a couple days. Um, there will probably be some surprises. I don't have any names for like surprise cuts, but I don't know if there's going to be any like surprise veterans that go. But I think they have. People talk about their depth. I think they actually, now when their depth is rookies, but their depth is always rookies. But I think, there's a lot of promising signs that we've got a pretty good draft class that we brought in, and it's all going to matter about health. Just stay healthy. If we can keep those two big time ends, Hunter and Smith, if we can keep them healthy all year, that alone is going to be just massive. So, all right, I've talked way too long for a preseason game, so we'll see what happens.